back and welcome back to the Horror Master YouTube channel. Welcome back to episode City Collection update number 13. Either the lucky or lucky number depending on your person, but yes guys, 13 updates on this City Collection, which I cannot believe I've gone through 13 City Collection updates. Of course, I'm not even close to my buddy Thrashman 99K Levi City Collection update, or hell, I'm not even close to for Necrotic Nick's from the awesome those city collection updates. I'm pretty sure Nick's like close to like 100 and something city collection updates, which my god, that dude has so much stuff. But regardless, I promised that I was gonna make a city collection update a bit more earlier than usual, which I kind of did, and that's because this past week I actually went on vacation, so that's why there was no video on my controversial uncover series, which that series will be back probably either this week or next week, depending on my schedule, getting back into the room after vacation. So, stay tuned for those episodes. But I actually got some cool ass stuff, and I want to give a shout out to the place where I got the stuff because I really need to shout them out. So, if anyone around the Houston area or lives in Houston or plans to visit Houston or whatever the case, you're looking for a cool ass record shop, I really suggest you ought to go to this place called Soundwave. It's a store in near the downtown of Houston, Texas, and they sell so much stuff. Like literally, they sell vinyl, CDs, surf stuff, skateboarding stuff, old DVDs. Like literally, if you're looking for a place to buy vinyl, CDs, you're a surf guy, you love pops, go there. Really suggest you ought to go check them out. I'll probably put a link on their shop in Instagram to give you guys a follow. I know sometimes they give giveaways on their Instagram, so really appreciate guys you give them a follow and visit that shop once in a while because it's a really cool ass place. I mean, I actually have been there a couple of times, and every time I go there, they're all professional, they're all really kind, they always try to help you out. They kind of are music fans, so they kind of know when a guy like me goes into there and buys a lot of stuff. And honestly, I could have literally broken the bank because there was so much stuff that I wanted to buy because I was like, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. And you know, if you guys ever have the chance to go to Houston or live in Houston, go to this record shop, Soundwave. You'll not be disappointed. You really love it, and I can bet my bank on that. But on to the goodies that I got. So, like I said, I could have easily broken the bank, but of course I had to keep my composure. And I bought about maybe 10 CDs, more or less. So you can see, if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you all should follow me on my Instagram, you already know what I got in the record shop. But for those people who don't follow me on Instagram, I always like to make these videos. That way I can talk about a bit about the albums, favorite songs, and all that. So that's why I'm doing these kind of videos. So if I'm not talking, let's get into the goodies that I got. So the first one that I got is, of course, AC/DC for those about to rock. Me being that AC/DC is my favorite band of all time, I've been slowly but surely getting all their albums, even though the reason I haven't gotten all their albums is because they're not really hard to find. I could easily go to Amazon, go on eBay, and buy the discography. So it's a discography I'm not too worried in trying to complete right away because I know eventually I could get them easy in any other place or that. But for those about to rock was released. It was the album right after Back in Black. So from Back in Black for those about to rock, it was an album that kind of gave us more bigger hits. Of course, the title track for those about to rock with Salute You, which has been the song they always close their shows. I Put the Finger on You, really good song. COD, Cry of the Devil, amazing song. Evil Walks, one of the heaviest songs AC/DC has ever done. I mean, just with the pure intro, the guitar with Angus's guitar playing, Inject the Venom. Of course, he used Inject the Venom is a really good ass song. Let's Give It Up. It's a great ass song. I mean, Breaking the Rules, Night of the Long Knives. Again, me being the AC/DC fan, of course, I had to get some AC/DC into the collection. And speaking of AC/DC, not really a vinyl, but I finally was able to find the Bon Scott Funko Pop. So I now have the complete Bon Scott lineup with, of course, the album right there. You can kind of see right there. So for now, I have the entire Bon Scott lineup on Funko, unless somehow they release Stevie Young, Simon Wright, and Chris Slade in later years. I will gladly get them because, of course, they're part of the history of AC/DC, so on and so forth. So for now, I can kind of say I have every single member in Funko Pop in my collection. The next album that I have in the collection, of course, is Acid Bats, When the Kite Strings Pops. Now, eventually, I'm going to do a video on my controversial album cover series about this album cover particularly. But, Acid Bath was a band that was formed out of Louisiana in the mid-90s and kind of broke up in kind of the late 90s. They only had two albums, of course, this one and the follow-up, which I need to get that album eventually some point or another. But pretty much, this is sludge, doomy kind of metal, to the point of metal that not really dope smoker metal. It's more of a stoner, more like in the likes of Akaius, or maybe a bit of Queen of Stone Age, or maybe a bit of the Melvins, that kind of sound. And of course, like I said, sludge metal, a bit more heavier, sometimes a bit thrashier at points with Acid Bath. We have songs like Jezebel, The Blue, Dr. Seuss is Dead, God Machine, The Bones of Baby Dolls. Like, for it to be that much of a heavier sound, but slow, kind of course, taking inspiration with bands like Black Sabbath and Saint Vitus and all that, but kind of make it their own. And a band that came out of Louisiana, which, it's not the first time that a band from Louisiana considered sludge / groove metal was from there. Of course, Downs from there, Exhorters from Louisiana, So it was kind of fitting that, of course, Acid Bath was going to take that sound and kind of make it in their own. And of course, like I said, the album cover, which I'll talk about it later in my controversial album cover series in a future episode. But that album cover, painted by John Wayne Gacy while he was in prison, of course, with his alter ego Pogo the Clown, and of course the controversy came afterwards, which I'll talk about in a later video. But if you ever listen to Acid Bath, give them a listen. I mean, it's really good. Like, if you like that sludgy sound of metal, like I said, like an Exhorter kind of crowbar kind of sound, you'll like Acid Bath. You will not be disappointed. Next up in the collection, and I finally was able to get an album from this band, Avenged Sevenfold, Hail to the King. I finally have some Avenged Sevenfold in my collection. For the longest time, I've been wanting to get some Avenged Sevenfold in the shop, and I finally have probably my favorite album of theirs. Of course, this is Hail to the King, regarded as their Black album, and it's pretty much their Black album because this is probably the closest Black album that they could have gone to, because you can kind of make the comparison between Hail to the King and the Black album from Metallica. Of course, when I think of Hail to the King, that kind of reminds me of Enter Sandman. Or when I think of a song like Crimson Day, it kind of reminds me of Nothing Else Matters. Or a song like This Means War reminds me a bit of, Sad But True. So you can kind of see the comparisons between both albums. But I don't care what people say about Avenged Sevenfold and Hail to the King. This album fucking rocks. Like I mentioned before, Shepherd of Fire, Hail to the King, Coming Home, Acid Rain, This Means War, Heretic, Coming Home. I don't care that people think they sell out. Yeah, they did sell out. They'd sell out every single stadium in the fucking world. And again, it's Avenged Sevenfold, a band that can go from traditional metal to thrash metal to progressive metal to some sort of dream metal like they did in the new album, which I hope I can get that eventually in the near future. But it's Hail to the King, people. Hail to the King. Next up in the collection, of course, some Cannibal Corpse. Since I've been getting ready but slowly to see Cannibal Corpse in October, which I'm fucking hyped, the main point that I wanted to go to the record shop was to get more Cannibal Corpse. Unfortunately, they didn't have that many Cannibal Corpse albums. They just had the ones that I already have in the collection, so it wasn't no point of buying them again. But thankfully, this album I didn't have in the collection. Of course, I'm talking about Evisceration Plague. I know you can kind of hardly see the album cover. I mean, see if I can see it by the light. There you go. You can kind of see it more or less. But Evisceration Plague, of course, this was the follow-up after Kill. So pretty much your second album with Eric Wu-Tang in production. So which eventually Eric Wu-Tang actually became a part of Cannibal Corpse. Kind of funny how that happened. But, songs like Priest of Sodom, A Cauldron of Hate, in Unnatural, which had a guitar solo by Eric Wu-Tang, Carnivorous Swarm. Pretty much Cannibal Corpse has stated that every single album they have done, they want to get heavier and faster and more dangerous. I think that's the perfect word to say it. But like I said, it's Cannibal Corpse. You can't go wrong with any Cannibal Corpse song. Cannibal Corpse is one of those bands that I consider to have not the perfect discography, but every single album they have released is consistent, has great songs, great rhythms, fucking songs to headbang to, or in some case, to fuck with. But, you know, it's Cannibal Corpse, people. I'm hyper Cannibal Corpse, and, you know, what more can I say about it? Next up of the album, we have Insomnia with their probably the most ambitious album to date, Winter's Gate. A one song, 40 minutes track, which is divided into 10, maybe 9 sections. And oh my god, talk about melodic death metal galore, masterful work. Everything about this album is perfection. I don't think whenever I did the longest songs in the Horseman podcast, I think I don't even had this song, maybe because I wasn't really a fan of Insomnia as I am right now. But you know, if you have some spare time, like an hour to listen to this masterful work, give it a listen, because you know it's 40 minutes of melodic death metal, the guitars, the vocals, everyone in the band has a moment to shine. The melodies, everything is so fucking great that you just cannot get more, and you want more. And by the end of the album, you don't want it to end because you want it to continue on. That's how much of impactful this album really is. And you know, probably this is one of the albums that got a lot of people into Insomnia. It kind of get me more into Insomnia, but that's more Hard Like a Grave that got me more into Insomnia. But this is one of those albums that a lot of people have talked about, became fans of Insomnia, and for good reasons. I mean, my god, even the album cover is fucking gorgeous, man. I mean, can you imagine listening to this on a cold winter night, coming from work, and then just blasting this with the melodies, the heaviness, the sorrow. Just thinking about it makes me want to listen to it again. But fucking listen to it, man. Fucking listen to it. Next up, we have Marilyn Manson. And of course, y'all know I'm a huge Manson fan. Of course, I saw the guy back in 2018 when he wasn't during his Heaven Upside Down tour. And of course, when I saw this in the album, on the record shop, I had to get it. Of course, I'm talking about Hollywood, In the Shadow of Death of Valley. I think it's the full name of the title. But you know, this is another album that eventually is going to be my controversial album cover series. And this kind of completes the trilogy that Manson started with Antichrist Superstar, Mechanical Animals, and ends with Hollywood. But Manson has stated that the trilogy actually is backwards. It starts with Hollywood, and then with Mechanical Animals, and then with Antichrist Superstar, kind of depicting the 3 stages of, I guess, Manson's life. And of course, this album came out on yours truly's birthday back in 2000. So another reason I had to get this album, because it was released on my birthday when I turned 4 years old. And this is the album that came out right after the Columbine incident, because during the Columbine incident, it was during the Mechanical Animals tour, and then the Columbine thing happened, which a lot of people blame Manson for it. And that's why I think the fight song, if I remember correctly, the fight song kind of was the way that Manson expressed himself about those Columbine incidents. And like I said, eventually I'm going to do a whole video on this album cover in my controversial album cover series. And of course, songs like In the Shadow of the Valley of Death, a beautiful ballad. The Nobodies, that video kind of fucked me up for a long ass time, even though it was kind of cool. And it's a shame that the Jackass crew didn't have the chance to be in that music video, because originally they were supposed to be in that music video, but for somehow management or the whole thing with Columbine happened, they kind of wanted them associated with Manson for a while. So that kind of happened. Disposable Teens, probably one of the lead songs of the album. Of course, when he sings about, I want to thank you, Mom, I want to thank you, Dad, for bringing this fucking world to the bitter end. That's fucking catchy, man. Fucking catchy as hell, man. The Fall of Adam, the Death song, the Love song, everything about this album is fucking amazing. I mean, like I mentioned, for me being a Manson fan, Of course, I had to get in the fucking collection. So another discography I'm slowly but surely trying to complete eventually in the future. Next album on the collection, we have Napalm's Scum. Napalm Dead Scum. Shockingly, a lot of people are shocked that I didn't have this already in the collection. One of the greatest grindcore bands of all time. Hell, I saw them live when I saw when I saw Unto Others with Arch Enemy and Behemoth, and I was lucky enough to catch Shane's bass pick, and I got it and have it there on the wall right there. I have all my ticket stubs and all that. But of course, talk about the two worlds. I mean, the first half being the original band members and the second half being a whole different lineup. How many albums do you know had two separate lineups in one complete album? I mean, it's crazy to think that Napalm Dead released one of the greatest grindcore albums of all time next to Repulsion's Horrified and Terrorizer's Downworld. I mean, come on, man. I mean, so when you have a song like like You Suffer, a like 1 second song. I remember when they sang that song live, they were like, You Suffer. Everyone went crazy because like, yay! I mean, it's crazy to think. I mean, when an album with 28 tracks, of course, not them like short of maybe 2 minutes, a minute, not even close to 3 minutes long. The Kill, the title track, Born of the Knees, Divine Death, MAD, CS, Deceiver, Success, Prison Without Walls. I mean, fuck's sake, man. Even that album cover, it looks like a fucking collage of fucked up shit. Like, man. Napalm Dead, Scum, one of the greatest grindcore albums of all time. I mean, it is up there. I mean, fuck's sake. We had it on the grindcore albums episode, so of course the impact this album had on so many grindcore bands and death metal bands of that era, of course I had to get it in the future. Next up, another album that a lot of people are gonna be shocked I didn't have in the collection. Of course, I'm talking about Pantera's Cowboys from Hell. Yes, me being the Texan, everyone is shocked that I didn't have already this album. To be fair, I don't have the rest of the Pantera discography. Pretty much everything from Cowboys from Hell to the end, I'm pretty much getting the future and getting that power metal shit, But, Cowboys from Hell, what more can I say has been said already before? The title track, Psycho Holiday, Cemetery Gates, Domination, people, that fucking verb, the just watch the fucking live performance they did in Moscow and see all those people fucking banging their heads to Dimebag Darrell's. Oh man, it's so fucking good, man. The Art of Shattering, everything about this album is fucking good. Vinny, Dimebag, Rex, Phil, fucking Pantera rules, man. Ugh, man, I almost lost my shit right there. We're almost done. 2 more cities left in the city collection update. Of course, the next one we have some Type O Negative, of course, with October Rust. Another band that I'm slowly but surely getting the discography eventually, because Type O Negative, regardless, probably the greatest or one of the greatest gospel metal bands of all time. Next to probably bands like him, maybe a bit of Cradle of Filth, but really Cradle of Filth more in the lines of black metal and gothic metal, but they kind of help the gothic to influence some things, but this is a whole different rabbit hole. But it's the Green Man, it's Peter Steele, songs like I Love You to Death, which was the main single out of the album, Die With Me, In the Praise of Box, Haunted, Wolf Moon included, Solentini and Aronia. What more can you want about freaking Type O Negative? A band and an album that probably gets a lot of listens to in October time, and a lot of people doing the whoopee or the fucking to this album, which if you do, good for you. If you don't, still listen to the album, it fucking rules. And the last album we have here in the collection is another big album that I've been wanting to get for a long time, but never had the opportunity to find it until now. Of course, I'm talking about Venom's At War with Satan. Of course, the title track alone, the beginning of the album with that epicness, close to 17-minute, maybe 15-minute track, of course, which eventually we had a prelude on Black Metal. That was the last song, which was a War Was Satan prelude to which will conclude to the beginning of the album. So, it's a really fucking good track. Rip Ride, Genocide. Yes, people, that's one of the names of the songs. Woman, Leather, and Hell. That's a big ass song that you want to probably put on with your girlfriend and your wife or whatever you fuck with, But it also has some bonus tracks that has the War Was Satan, the advertisement on the radio, Warhead, Seven Gates of Hell. I think that's one of the EPs. I don't remember which EP it includes, but with Venom, I think with Venom, what a lot of people agree upon is everything from Welcome to Hell to maybe a War Was Satan or even Possessed. Probably their biggest albums to date, and everything afterwards is Live or Take. But of course, the big ass St. Peter's cross on the album cover already makes already the shock value into there. Of course, I'm pretty sure this must have given a lot of hate during the 80s with the people seeing the upside down cross. And of course, I like the way that they kind of did it with kind of like a book cover with the upside down cross, and then of course Venom and all that. But if you haven't listened to A War Was Satan, go give it a listen to. I mean, you will not be fucking disappointed. It fucking rules. And that does it for this video, guys. I just really enjoyed this CD collection update. Hopefully I can bring you guys another CD collection update sooner rather than later, depending on what I plan to get. Hopefully I can get one before November, which is around my birthday time. Maybe one or two, depending on how it goes. I'm still working on the controversial uncover series. Like I mentioned before, there's some album covers I'm already thinking of. The rankings, I might bring the rankings back because I know those are a lot of people have been wanting me to do more rankings, and which I kind of stated that the next one I'm planning to do is Cattle Decap. Hopefully I can bring you guys that ranking before the year ends, and a lot of good stuff is happening in the channel. Hopefully this channel begins to grow, and we'll see what it goes from there. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone, and until next time, stay metal. Ha ha ha!